Hello, world, and welcome. My name is Mark, and today I'll be talking with Toronto-based producer, guitarist, and songwriter Duffmusiq about his musical journey and his new album, Stone Cold. And I'm happy to say that throughout our conversation, Duff has some great clips he's going to share with us. But if you really want to rock out first, check out the clip at the very end, and then come on back and join the conversation. Welcome, Duff. Great to have you here, and congratulations on your 5th studio album.
Thank you for having me, Mark.
You're welcome. You know, I've been listening to the singles. They're all stellar, and each one with a different shade of blues and rock and soul. Really amazing stuff. I've been listening to you, as you know, since about, 2009, which is like about 17 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in all those years, I can truly say that you're one of my most favorite guitarists on the scene. And also someone, yeah, it's true. And someone
surprise, man.
No, it's not a surprise. You're a great musician, a great guitarist, and I look up to you too when it comes to your professionalism and your dedication to the craft, because there's a lot that goes into making it look that easy. And you probably had some help along the way. And I was reading that one of your mentors, of course, was drummer Shamaka Ali. And this album has kind of a special story attached to it. And maybe you tell us about that.
Well, Shamaka died in 2024. And previously, he asked me so many times, how come you never have me on your albums, man? It's always somebody else playing, or you either programming drums or something. And I was like, well, one day, whatever. So during COVID, we had a session where we recorded some grooves. And after this unfortunate event and his death, I decided just to kind of bring him back into life. And I had also his son as a guest on one of my songs, so kind of reunion between two of them. And also having his grooves on my album that literally inspired me to write the whole thing just from the beginning, you know. So I did lyrics, I did melodies, guitar riffs, and I called my songwriter partner Jalise, and we did together this album.
Wow. So you literally started with the grooves and wrote from there?
Yeah. I was first listening what I have from him, you know, and then according to those grooves, I created guitar riffs and stuff, right? So I had to have something, because I had to work with him, with what I have from him, in order to, you know, come up with a song.
That's an amazing story. I was lucky enough to get to hear him play live quite a bit as well. And it was always a thrill to hear his sound, you know, his groove.
Yeah, man. So there's no really formula to songwriting. You can start with a guitar, or you can start with lyrics, or you can start with a drum group. I remember even producing one singer. She just brought a notebook with lyrics, and we started from there.
When you're doing your songwriting, do you mostly start with, for example, with acoustic guitar, or it's whatever's hitting you in the moment?
Sometimes it's just my voice on the phone, like a recording idea, and then I reproduce that later on the guitar, you know. But many times it's just a guitar. Even sometimes when I teach my students, I come with ideas, you know, and I have to record them right away because they're gone. I'm really, you know, I really think about that. Every time I think something is good, I grab my phone right away. So because in 2-3 hours it's gone, man.
In the old days, we used to just have like a little mini cassette recorder if we really had a lot of money, right?
Yeah, writers too have ideas for lyrics too, and I'm sure we all now record. Our voice memos are like, you know, thousands.
There's thousands. I wanted to actually ask you about when you first came to Toronto, because you've been in Toronto quite a while, and you were telling me about being here to study. You came here specifically to study music.
Yeah, I applied for music production at Harris Institute for the Arts, and that was 2001. So that was my reason for coming here. And I graduated, and after that I worked a bit on a radio station as a sound guy. And from there I just started teaching, because I was a teacher back in Europe since '93. I had like a group of students privately, and I worked in one institution too. But that was starting with students and live gigs. I just saved money, bought equipment, and opened my own studio.
When you started doing that stuff, were there some realities that awaited you that you didn't realize would have been here when you got here? Was there any surprises in coming to do the studying and sort of getting into the whole scene here?
Well, culture is totally different. Totally. Yeah. I remember some funny stories, but I don't know if they're interesting for the podcast. But yeah, I mean, my friends from my class, from Harris Institute for the Arts, all my friends from my class was pretty cool guys, you know. So they kind of took me out, showed me some stuff about Toronto culture, food, music, places where I should go and check the band. So at that time, I remember Bar Italia was popular, and I think it was Lava Lounge on Tuesday nights. That's where I saw Chris Rose first time and Divine Brown on Tuesday night. Yeah, and I decided to compose album by myself, and that was 2005. So I did like I think 10 songs or 9 songs. The band was called James King.
Remember the band?
Yeah, I produced that album, and I found the singer on Craigslist because I put an ad, and I said I need a singer. Can I find somebody like this? Blah blah blah. And yeah, I found the singer, and then we split, and then I put another ad, and the second ad had around 50 people coming to audition for the band because the demo was already done. So I had a voice on, and I remember my ad was like, if you think you can sing like this, you know. So actually all these people, they liked the way the demo sounded and the singer. So, you know, some of them even told me, oh man, I feel sorry that he left because he was such a great singer. And that's where I met my band members, bass player, keyboard player, drummer, new singer, and you know, we did 2 albums. So
wow. Well, you know, I'm going to get into that in just a second. Before I do, let's just play a little bit of a clip. Your clip is called Money, and it's all about, I guess, you know, making a living.
That's from my 4th album called Secret.
Let me find that and bring that up, and we'll play just that little clip. Here. Wow, that's some great playing. I love that.
Thanks,
I love that tune. What prompted you to really get into making albums? How did you go about learning about that side of it, aside from the recording side?
Well, I studied classical music. I went to music school when I was 6. I studied violin for a start, and then I went into theory a bit, where you had piano as a mandatory instrument. Violin wasn't my thing. I wasn't, you know, I didn't really like it. So, but I started playing guitar at 13, the age of 13, and I just fell in love into it, you know, and I was totally into rock music, nothing else. Like 80s rock, heavy metal, speed playing, fast playing. And after 92, I think I went to see Candy Dulfer, saxophone player, and I was amazed. Candy Dulfer played with Prince. But she has, if you remember her 80s or 90s famous instrumental called Lily Was Here, with Dave Stewart from Eurythmics. They did it together.
Now I have to look it up. Now I have to. I probably heard 100%. it, but I don't know the names.
Yeah, but she's a solo saxophone player, like a solo artist, right? But she toured with Prince for the past like 10 years. Yeah, and I think she's on his video Batman or Party Man, which was a soundtrack for Batman, if you remember back in the 80s. She's a part of the band in that video too. So when I saw her, she was mentioning these guys like Maceo Parker and David Sanborn, and I was like, oh, I gotta check these people, you know. because she was saying, oh, these are my influences. So anyway, I got a tenor sax and I started playing sax, and I had a band back home where I played tenor sax with them, and I produced and recorded an album with them back in 98, I think, right? And I was like, man, I would love to do this, because every time I call the studio, you have to wait for time, right? And then you pay the guy to do it. So I was like, maybe I should learn this instead of waiting, and when I'm inspired, I have to do things right away in the moment, right? And I decided to study music production and learn to record and produce. So yeah, I did that one album in 98, and when I came to Canada, 2005 or 6 was my first James King album, and then second. And then I worked a little bit with Lisa Michelle and Giles. I did 2 albums with Giles and one with Lisa Michelle too. And then I just decided, to compose a lot of music, a lot of instrumental music. So far I did around 45 to 50 albums. I don't know exact number, right? So 5 of my own solo albums, and with other people and some other instrumental projects is around 50 albums.
That's incredible. And I'm trying to remember in my mind how good Google was back in the 2005 era, because, for example, to learn about licensing, publishing, having your own catalog and having your own business, that's not easy to do even now.
Man, that was at that time I didn't even know what I'm doing. I just saw sync licensing music, like place your songs on TV or commercials. I was like, let me try. So I signed up with a couple of companies, finding them online. I didn't know what I'm doing, and then I ended up literally within 6 months, one of my songs ended up on I think USA Network on a TV show, and then I made some money too there, and I was like, well, this is not bad, I mean, I'm capable of creating a lot of instrumental music. I should just go and just kill it. So that's why I made this catalog of 500 songs of instrumentals plus songs. And I went into research and went on Google and researched the licensing companies, contacted, sending emails, stuff, who wanted me to be a part of the, their catalog.
Right.
I signed up, and that's it. Yeah.
So basically, you just went and did it.
Yeah, I didn't know that it's going to be so good within 10 years. It was just a guess at that time.
Well, that's because you have great music out there, and so if you've got the product, if you've got the compositions, and
yeah, but at that time people were making money. Musicians were making money at that time, still selling music. Mm-hmm. It wasn't that bad at that time.
Yeah, things have changed quite dramatically.
Yeah,
for sure. And we, I think we talked about this. Now that AI is in the picture, what kinds of thoughts do you have on how that's going to affect this part of the business? Because from what I've been reading, at least, and what I've been checking up in, there's like a huge influx now to bring stuff in using AI rather than using musicians.
It's easy, but you can't license it, right? Because you need a person to sign the ownership of the stems, and if those stems are taken from somebody else. I just saw today one clip when one entertainment lawyer said that Sony is coming out with a AI tracking software or a platform, not software, that will be tracking another AI and source of where the stems are taken from and the percentage of how much is taken. So, for example, if you take a kick drum or snare from rock video from Michael Jackson, this AI platform that Sony invested in will be able to do that and tell you, okay, so this arrangement of the song that is generated from Suno or UD or whatever the website is, use this and this stems, right? Illegally. So, yeah, and you can't copyright. Yeah, you can't copyright AI music. That was, decided by. So it's a law that you can't. And licensing companies won't take it. The problem is the risk, right? So you can take it now, and then in 3 years somebody will come up with what Sony's coming up, and you can get sued and pay way more money than paying a human artist, for the. So right now it's a risk. Nobody wants to do it. I can see some other things that AI will affect. For example, if you want to compose a score for the movie and you need an orchestra of 30 people, or if you need a funk section of, I don't know, 10 people playing horns or something, right? And AI is that good that you can generate with AI that, then these orchestras, the players, Philharmonic or whatever, or horn section will probably, suffer. There are people, I had a teacher at Harris Institute, I think his name is Don Garbut. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing properly his last name, but he's a genius in MIDI. Like when he programs stuff from samples, it sounds like a human was,
Yeah. And that
like
that was even before, right?
Yeah. So even though you sample things, it doesn't mean that it's going to sound like but if you know your velocities and all this stuff in MIDI programming, you can make it sound so good. So I don't know, because a background orchestra or horn section, I'm not saying that's not important, but it's not really important as a singer or a guitar solo or something like that. So it's kind of more of a background thing, a filler.
Mm-hmm.
So I can see that maybe AI can be used for that, to generate that, so people can save on budget.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Well, all that's been happening for a while, for sure.
Yeah.
By the way, I was taking some notes before and looking at your site, and you've had some awards recently.
Yeah, my latest award was in Nashville, international competition for in all genres, but I won for the best blues song.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's pretty good. I think it was over 130,000 submissions.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's a lot of submissions.
It's a lot. Yeah.
And the song is called "Ordinary Fool."
Ordinary Fool. Yeah.
Yeah. Can I play a little clip of that?
Yes, sure.
Let me grab that.
I wrote the lyrics and the arrangement for it, vocal arrangement, and the whole song. I produced that by myself too.
Amazing. Let's hear that. See if that comes up for us on here.
That's a part of it, huh?
Yeah, little part of it. It's great, a great tune, great blues sound, and I'm reflecting on what you were saying about starting off being heavy metal and rock and all this stuff, and all of a sudden there's all this blues. How did that happen?
Yeah, I think you do need some of emotions and dynamic in your playing. Otherwise, it's the way I hear now stuff that I liked before is I'm not happy about it, right?
Well,
so
I think that's all of us.
Especially the space, the space between the phrasing and stuff is for me very important. That I'm not playing like a lot of notes within 10 seconds. So I'm trying to be more of a guy who plays melodies and statements and has little kind of breathing space in between. So, yeah.
Do you ever do some transcribing, listening to singers?
No, not really. But I'm a fan of playing singing melodies. I did recently. I played with Keisha Wint. We did a tribute to Tina Turner. And I love playing "I Can't Stand the Rain" on the guitar, as a solo, as like a vocal melody. Yeah, I love that.
There's an album of Aretha's a way back, and she's singing an intro to "Just Right Tonight," and in that she's singing this really great line, and it turns out the guitar comes in, she's singing the guitar line. So she reversed it, right? And it was really interesting. She was singing as a guitarist as opposed to singing as a vocalist. She was singing as a blues guitarist.
Nice.
So it was very nice, and it's a really great thing you have to say about the space between the notes. This is a really important thing. Phrasing.
It's a matter of growth, you know. I think when I hear a grown man musician who doesn't play like that, I don't know. I mean, I understand that people are stuck in their own way, you know, and there are bands like Iron Maiden and AC/DC, they play the same thing, and they're great in it, right? But, you know, you want to explore. I can't play just one style of the music, you know. I'm kind of curious. I want to know a little bit about blues and jazz and, you know, soul and funk. You know, and incorporate all these things that I like in a fun way. So,
how do you go about learning that stuff as a musician yourself? Because everyone's got a different way of doing it.
Oh,
what's your way?
Pure ear. I remember the days I had a tape recorder, and I think I was rewinding a million times. I remember back in the days before tape, people were using record and destroyed the record from, you know, playing it over and over. So I did that with the tape.
That would be me.
Yeah. So me rewinding the recording and memorizing one pattern, or melody of the solo, and then trying to catch another one over and over and over really made my ears sharp, you know?
Right.
So I'm really capable now in picking super fast anything that I hear.
That's amazing.
Sometimes I can even predict pretty well 95% position where the guitar player played. I know right away is it fret 7 or it's 12th or it's open, right?
Well, because you've got the ear now where you know the difference between the note on one fret on one string and the note on another fret.
Exactly. I can hear if the note is thinner, I know he played it on the first string, or if I hear sustain, I know it's open, right? So I can kind of predict where the phrase is delivered.
Yeah. That's such a great thing to get to on guitar, where you can really.
Well, that's old school, you know. I don't think people do that anymore.
No, I mean
yeah.
You know, the only time it doesn't work because I'm like you, I actually learn pretty much everything by ear. I just listen to it, and as you know, my take on it is as long as it's got 6 strings and as long as they're tuned the way I normally tune it, it has to be somewhere.
Yeah.
You know, if I'm on this fret with my first finger and he's playing a chord, it's going to be in a human hand, hopefully spot, right? I'll find those notes eventually. And so you really get to hear where things live and the differences between the timbre and the notes, right? The sound.
Yeah. If I can't find something within a minute, I search for alternate tuning. I either go online and say what was the tuning for this song, because I'm guessing to save time somebody probably wrote it. Oh, it's, you know, alternate tuning or something, and you know, then I know that it's, you know, there's no point of me trying to you know, learn something to play in a regular tuning that is not done there, right? So
yeah, unless you can Google what the alternate tuning was and see what it was. You know what? One of the old school tricks I used to use is that. Now you can do this with, I think, almost most little apps that do guitar stuff. But I used to get a transcriber like that a court reporter.
I love that.
Yeah, like that a court reporter would used to use, because there's a pedal, and the pedal takes you back. You can set it if you want to go back 15 seconds or 10 seconds or 5 seconds. So when listening to those phrases in a tape, you can listen to the phrase and stop, and it automatically takes you right back to the note.
Oh yeah, it loops only that section. Transcribe it's amazing software, and you can change the pitch, you can slow it down, right?
Yeah. But I used to do that with physical transcriber machines. Like,
oh, no, I'm talking about there's a software, there's an app now that is you know, it's called Transcribe, actually.
Is it?
Yeah, you should get that, man. If you want to learn solos, you can slow down any solo and hear properly, and you can, like you said, you can slice, you can loop only one section and study that, you know, and play along. And also for all E-flat tuning guitars, just instead of retuning guitar, you just move the recording one step up, and that's it.
Well, I think things have improved since the old days in that respect. I bet
100%.
Yeah, because I was using very very expensive, you know, analog machines and cassette tapes and you know, clunky pedals, and it it was the same result, I guess, in some ways, just
Yeah.
a lot more effort, you know.
Yeah.
That's
Way
pre-
more effort.
way more effort. So, and you also play, and I was listening to a bunch of your tunes again this week, and I was telling you, you know, you're playing Rhodes, you're playing bass, you're playing guitar. Are you playing drums as well on some of these things?
No, I did tenor sax on my first album, Soul Leash, from 2017. I have one song called Party People, which is just an interlude, right? Introduction to the tune, where I play tenor sax. But most of the time, no drums. Most of the time, it's bass and keys. And it's not that I don't want to call anyone. It's just that people are busy, and I don't want to wait for somebody 3 days or even a day. So if I can grab it and do it quickly, I just want the work to be done, you know? Now, yeah, if something that I play is not sounding right to me, then I would call somebody, you know?
It's I think that's your calling card is I want to do it and I want to do it now.
Exactly. Because I have all my equipment there, and I'm sitting at the table, so I might as well finish that morning everything rather than putting in, you know, waiting for tomorrow or 3 days. Because people have other things to do. Nobody's, you know, waiting for me to call them and do things, right?
Right.
People have kids, they have bills.
Yeah, there's a lot going on, and I mean, making music in general with other people can be a scheduling nightmare sometimes.
Oh,
It's not an easy thing.
well, that's the reason. That's the reason why I self-produced my first album, because I couldn't find anyone to, you know. So I was like, how am I gonna find people to play in this city? You know, I'm new. Nobody knows me. So I was like, I'm just gonna produce the whole album and put it on ads and say I'm looking for a singer. You know, and then when me and my first singer split. I put another ad, and like I said, I had around 30 drummers and 50 singers coming. So people really want. Yeah.
Did you have like literally like an audition scene where the
Audition? We rented a rehearsal space, and we had drummers, I think, coming after 2 o'clock and singers in the morning, 10 till 2, right? And we give them like 3 songs. Originals to sing, and like not a whole song, just like a verse and chorus, right?
That's crazy. It must. And did you film any of it back then with video?
No, but that would be so cool to see, man. Now, yeah.
You know, or even like a Super 8 camera, or you know.
No, we knew right away who's. You know, we had names on the list, and we knew right away who we want, right? So.
That must have been quite a scene. I want to pick another clip for a second and
thanks,
and
man.
play people who are watching. I think I'm going to play a thing called Interlude that you did.
Okay, that's from my first album, Soul Leash.
Yeah, let's grab that for a second. Here we go. I have to ask you, are you making, obviously you must be, you're doing all your own backing tracks as well, right?
Yeah, I produced them all, yeah.
Yeah. Did you ever consider, you know, there's people who obviously have backing tracks on YouTube and so on and whatnot. You ever thought of putting some of your own stuff out there for people to jam with?
I tried, but you know why I tried? Very good friend of mine, Justin Forsley, he did it, and he made a lot of money, man, making backing tracks for like blues and rock. And in a month, something happened, and YouTube says, no, we're not, something happened, I don't know, whatever, and they, you know, stop sending money. And then I tried at the same time, and the following, I didn't have subscribers and views, you know. So I was like, it's a lot of time, putting time into. I know I have people, but it's not worth of my time, you know.
Yeah.
So
I'm just being selfish and thinking of me playing to
yeah,
backing tracks on YouTube
yeah,
with
yeah.
your tunes.
Because
But
yeah, the backing tracks that are available are not that inspiring for jam, right? I have to say they're pretty generic and boring. They have no like a dynamic or whatever, no human factor in it. Yeah.
exactly, exactly. And speaking of jamming and scheduling musicians and all of these things, do you actually have time to play with people for just jamming?
I
Do you get that
actually
do you get that opportunity anymore?
I do have time, but other people don't. Everybody's so big. I think if I call some people, let's jam, they would laugh. They would say like, is there money there or not? You know? Yeah.
I guess in the sense they've kind of turned jams into open stages.
Yeah.
You know, I guess that's
Yeah.
the only
Yeah.
place you can really jam.
Open mic? Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah, that's too bad because really, that's where a lot of great music comes from is
It
time
is.
spending time. Like you could be in a groove for 30, 40 minutes, an hour, just playing a groove and a few chords, and then everyone's getting a chance to see how to work with it and
Yeah.
test their ideas with it and
Exactly. And then you respond to that, right?
exactly. And if you don't have that time to do that, or people aren't willing to spend the time doing that, then you kind of lose a lot of that human part of things, as you were saying.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, that's too
True.
bad. That would have been a nice thing for you to be able to do.
Yeah, the way I teach my students, we jam a lot, you know? Between two guitar players, of course, I play a backing track and I said, okay, let's practice some call response. And then I do something and explain what I want. If I want them to finish on a different note and try to pick my lick, right, with their ears and literally reproduce the same but end on a different note. So, as a part of studies with my students, I do that.
Do you, are you teaching sort of from beginners on up, or are you teaching mid
Yeah,
level and advanced?
I think my youngest student is 4 and oldest is probably 68, 70.
That's
And
good.
some of them are with me like for 8 years, man. Yeah, most of my students are with me for so long.
That's amazing. And
Yeah.
I really, what I'm hearing from you is you play not just studying obviously some theory and all the rest of it, but you're actually playing music with them.
Yeah, we work on creativity and improvisation as well, right? So what I like to do with students is I'll give you 4 chord tones and show me what you can imagine there are 4 letters, right? And just like let's see how many words can you make out of these 4 tones, right? In terms of music. And using period and comma and question mark and pause.
Your rhythm part, right? Like
Yeah,
yeah, the punctuation being
yeah. So I'm explaining like that as a writing, but I want them to use vibrato and double stops and pause, right? Rests, sorry, and bendings and all these things that you can with 4 notes to make it more interesting, right? Yeah. A lot of my students they come over and they say I use pentatonic to solo, and I say no. Let's use chord tones. Let's use 4 notes, the minimum you can, and try to make something out of that.
that's incredible. I'm just imagining some of them must be really petrified.
I don't know.
They must be like, okay, let me breathe, let me breathe.
Yeah, I
Or
never play well, for my students. I never do stuff that I play for you on these clips, right? We just I go down to their level and I play simple stuff that they can repeat, so they can feel comfortable, being with me and playing as well at their own level.
I think that's great. I've been teaching myself since I've been about 13 years old, and one of the things that I always like to do, especially with people who have limited abilities to start, is let them play in that ability, however limited, but play beautifully behind them,
Of
so
course.
that they have this great sound and chords and things going on, but their notes might be very very simple, but the sound of the music making together
Yeah,
is
it's
inspiring,
inspiring. Yeah.
right? And
And
then they
sometimes if you have yeah, sometimes if you have a right emotion on 2, 3 notes, that's way better than than anything else, man.
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty amazing. And you do online. I'm thinking for people watching this podcast. Obviously, you're in Toronto, but you do online teaching for people as well.
I do. I had a lot of students. I had students in Sydney, in London, in Japan too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I do a lot of since COVID. Even before COVID, I had people because sometimes for people in Australia and Japan, it's cheaper to pay Canadian dollar for a lesson, right?
Sure.
So back in the days of Craigslist, I was advertising because you had Craigslist New York, Craigslist Toronto, Craigslist Tokyo. So I would target those cities, Sydney, Tokyo, and advertise myself there with a clip that my rock clip that you have. I have I think 6 or 7 demos of different genres of music where I'm playing those styles, and that was a part of my Craigslist post. I had clips, I had links. Go check it out if you like it.
It's like the world was throwing all these tools at you, and you said, "Oh, I'll use this tool. I'll use that tool. I'll figure out how to make this work for me." Right?
Yeah, it doesn't hurt to try.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt to try. And I'll make sure I put some links in the description of the podcast for your teaching and stuff too. So anyone who's interested in taking some lessons, they'll have a way to contact you.
Yeah.
Because what a fun thing to do. That sounds great. I want to play another quick clip of the technique you're using. You play the bass.
I'm a massive fan of Marcus Miller, man. I'm a massive fan. I went to see him. I met him. I have all his albums. It's just like the groove and funk that he has. So I try that on the guitar. I don't know why. I don't know reason why I try that on the guitar. Maybe I saw somebody playing it on the guitar, but the real inspiration for me behind that technique and playing it on Money, on my song Money, is Marcus Miller, basically, right?
Right. Wow. Let me grab that clip because you're doing something on the acoustic guitar, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it's percussive. It's better than acoustic. I can do it on electric too.
Mm-hmm. Let me give that a little play. Hang on a second.
Okay.
Yeah. That's impressive stuff. I can't, slapping bass is not easy. Doing it on acoustic guitar is probably even harder.
I can't imagine the amount of hours it took me to find that spot with a thumb on a string, on a thin string like guitar. It's easier on a bass. It's thicker, right? But to find that sweet spot that when you hit, you don't miss it. It's not that easy at all,
I've tried and never even come close to.
It sounds sloppy, right? When you try one time, it's like, how do you hit this?
Yeah, and I'm curious now. So, knowing how well you play in the styles, the different instruments, and so on and so forth. Do you take lessons with people as well, or is this really just you figuring it out all on your own? For the most part.
My last lesson I took was when I was 17. So it was all ear training, like listening, and trying to, analyzing a lot though, too, right? What notes and the spaces and all the stuff. And I was actually curious, why do I like somebody, and then compare to another player and whatever. So,
Did you ever have that situation where you were trying to figure out something and then you went to see someone, even not necessarily even that person, but someone who was also doing that style live, and you saw them doing something with their hands, for example, saying, "Oh, I didn't know that there was a technique about this."
No, not yet. I didn't see anything that maybe in terms of effects. If I hear something, and I don't know that effect pedal, I would maybe discover that live and then see and then search online and then maybe find how is that done. Because
Right.
sometimes some players who like pedals a lot, they combine 2 or 3 pedals to create some kind of sound that is interesting, right?
So they're doing some kind of
Yeah,
magic alchemy with their pedals
yeah,
that
yeah.
no one knows about.
But melody wise and picking wise, no. I mean I can pretty much predict what is chicken picking and what is pick and what is fingered, right? So
That's incredible. That's
yeah.
incredible. It's definitely a talent you have, because it's not easy to figure out stuff if you've never seen it done before. Just by listening, will get you a certain way, but you've figured it out somehow, and
Yeah.
you're teaching and passing it on to your students, which is even better.
Yeah, if you're a teacher, you probably know that as you teach, you learn so much as well,
That's
right?
that's pretty much
It's
the
crazy.
gig. That's pretty much the
Yeah,
gig. Is
it's crazy, man.
there's some famous phrase about you don't really know how to do anything until you try to teach it.
Yeah, because it triggers you, right? Too. It's like you're showing them simple stuff, but then, oh, this is why this sounds like that because of that,
Yeah,
and through the lesson you kind of learn.
you have your
Yeah,
moments, right? And you're like, oh,
exactly.
that's pretty interesting. Yeah, teaching is very rewarding,
It
and
is.
it definitely teaches you more about why you do what you do, and maybe how you want to do things even better.
Yeah.
Because, as you were saying, as you grow and as you play, you start to look back and say, I could have done this a little differently, or I now know more
Yeah.
than I knew before, right?
Yeah.
And so
Exactly.
so tell me, what kind of, I'm kind of thinking here about your thoughts for musicians nowadays, and what kinds of advice you would give to them to get into doing what you've done. Maybe help them along the way to figure out things a little easier and quicker, because you put in you paid a lot of dues to get to where you're going today. You put in a lot
Yeah.
of time. You put in a lot of time and a lot of effort, and they will too. But do you have any sage advice for kids who want to get into the business?
I would just the only advice I have for everyone is to songwrite, man. Really, writing a song that people will remember and having a solo in a song that is beautiful. Maybe it can be pre-composed like Hotel California, or that has like a beautiful chord response and people can sing that melody. That's really something that can last forever. There's million guitar players online that play amazing kids today, right? In terms of speed and chops and stuff. So what I can say, I mean, they already have a work ethic, obviously, right? Because they play like that. But I mean, writing and being able to uh, do something with another person in duo and trio, write in with single person or 3 people. It's a different thing and a great experience too. So as many songs as you can, write guitar riffs with the beautiful solos and beautiful stories and stuff. That's amazing. I'm saying this because I think that music that you create should, I don't know if it's a right term to say, work for you while you're sleeping, but why not having like a nice amount of songs that is online in a library, licensing library that is getting placed, and while you're sleeping it generates income for you. So at the end of the year you get a lot of royalties, and you get like kickbacks from already licensed stuff, publishing advances and stuff. If you can make money while you're sleeping with your music, the music generates for you. That's like a super. Then that's it.
I picked up from you on something really important, which is you're talking about being a musician, but you're also talking about being a businessman as well. You're you're
Yeah.
you're you're in the you always hear people talk about, it's called the music business. Well, it is, and
Yeah.
it's better the way you're doing it, which is you're taking control of your business. You're not getting tousled around by
Yeah.
other people. You're saying, you know what, I can make this my business, and I can make money while I'm sleeping, because it's just like everyone else
Yeah.
who's in business, right? You're
Yeah.
getting your income even when you're not working, is generating income for you.
Yeah. To be honest, I'm scared now. If somebody comes to me and offers a record deal or something, first thing I would think is how much of my music he's going to take from me. So it's not going to be mine 100%. And all the music that I have, my full catalog of 450, 500 tunes that I have, it's all 100% mine in terms of ownership, right? So many people don't understand because they see all this shine on TV, but all these touring and videos, there is a loan behind that you have to repay, right? Record labels are basically music banks. They give you the money and you have to recoup all of it, every cent. And plus everything that you wrote under that contract is not going to be 100% yours ever. It's going to be never. You crazy? If you look at the credits of people, of tunes of Bruno Mars and Justin Bieber, sometimes there's 13 people on the song, So who do you think owns that? You can't. It's just split in so many ways,
It wasn't 13 people they were jamming with, is what you're saying.
No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. I mean, you're probably following Rick Beato when he says, "Do you really need 8 people to write this song? There's only 4 chords." But everybody wants a piece of cake today in the industry, right? Even my one of my clients yesterday, he asked me, SOCAN, SOCAN Canada?
Oh yeah, yes, absolutely.
Society. They launched they have a new portal now, and apparently there is a new thing. When they ask you, do you own your merchandise 100%? Mm-hmm. I'm like, record labels are now taking from your T-shirts too. Can you imagine that hat that you have? It's not yours 100%.
There's nothing that's yours.
Yeah.
It sounds like you're in the envy. Really, everyone's trying to maybe get to this other side of the coin, right? About being with a label, getting signed, and all that stuff, and yet you're quietly being a really successful musician in the music business, just doing what you're doing.
There are so many ways. I'm sure there are people who are just doing sessions, in Nashville, and they're making great living out of never touring, but just being in a studio and delivering what needs to be delivered. I have a lot of friends who are just, they perform live and that's it. They make a lot of money. They're booked all the time. I don't think that being signed for record label is bad if you survive a 4 or 5 years or 4 albums contract, and then you are the one who's, saying these are the terms. That's probably the case with U2, Lady Gaga, Bon Jovi, and all these guys who survived. So they are now, okay, now I'm going to sign the deal, but it's going to be under these terms, and I own the rights for this and this and this, right? So if you can survive all that and all that money, all that interest rates and stuff, good for you.
Right. Yeah, it's not an easy business.
No, man, so hard.
But it's impressive because you're on a lot of documentaries. You're getting your music played in higher profile places. It's not necessarily just background music somewhere. You got picked up for something with Tony Braxton, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that was a her bio movie on show. What's the name of is it Hallmark or some of these TVs? I can't remember. It was one of these famous channels, Bravo. I think it's Bravo TV. Yeah, but I did something for Netflix with Bruce Willis and Megan Fox, and my latest bigger placement was Norman's Rare Guitars Netflix documentary, right, about the shop. Yeah, and a lot of my stuff gets licensed for video games in the background, and and weapons testing. People tend to license a lot. This is the new model of the gun, and this is like boom, 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 like testing weapons and stuff. So cars, motorbikes, shops too. I mean, I'm not going through all this because there's thousands. At the end of the year, when I get a sheet of everything, it's just like so much that I just look for movie, TV, cinema. I know that would be probably something on TV or something with some famous act. So
right,
yeah,
that's really incredible. I promised everyone I was going to play that rock clip, so it better be there when I do this. So I'm going to just showcase a little bit of what got you started in all this guitar
Yeah,
stuff.
that would be like my beginnings, right?
Right, we're playing the beginning later on. So let's we're working backwards.
Okay.
Let me find that, because it's also some great stuff. Here we go. Yeah, there
Yeah,
we go.
playing like that today would be pretty embarrassing for me.
Yeah. Well,
I would not. I would not.
you're going, well, you know what? The thing is, you're going after something different musically these days.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, I'm talking more about the way that the things are played, and without a space and everything. It's just like a lot of notes, you know?
yeah. Well, you have to start somewhere, right?
Yes.
So we'll say you started with a bunch of notes, and then you took away the ones you didn't need.
You started trimming slowly, right? And
You
muting
just
things.
yeah, you started with everything, and you just kind of, okay, let me trim this a little bit, let me do that. I mean, really, it's great technique, and it's a nice showcase of that rock sound. And I'm sure there's plenty of people who would just say, I'll take that. I'll be okay playing like that.
Yeah, it takes a while for me to explain to my student that that's not music, you know? Because they all come with this, oh, I want to play this fast tune and whatever. And it's natural. It's, a young person wants to do that. But then I'm trying to show them different things and make them fall in love into funk, which is really spacious. Funk is it's about the rest, It's not about having all these notes, but having that moment where there's nothing. So, and trying to explain what the call response is. The pause is very important. And actually, that's what I practice with them when we jam. I said, okay, don't start on the first beat of the bar. Wait for two. There's nothing wrong with being silent, because every single student that I have plays so much. And I said, man, there's nothing. It doesn't sound like a sentence, like a statement at all. It just sounds like blah 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 without period. So you have to encourage yourself to be comfortable with rest.
Yeah, and to hear what's going on in the song, so you can respond to
Yeah.
that, and the song
Yeah.
can respond to you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, playing a long note doesn't mean that you're bad. If you deliver it properly, if you have that beautiful vibrato and soulful band and whatever, that's already, some people can never do that in their entire career.
yeah. It's many people have talked about this concept of, if you can play a melody that people can sing, that
Yeah,
it means they can remember your melody.
of course.
And
Yeah.
and so, and even some of the most I'm going to say, complex jazz songs have such beautiful melodies that no matter how complex they really are musically,
Yeah.
people can sing them,
Yes.
because they're not singing it to be a virtuoso. They understand the melody because it's beautiful.
Yeah. Totally.
And so once you get to that point in your playing and your writing, where you can do that, especially improvising, is a really great thing, because that way,
Yeah.
when you're playing, people hear it and they go, yeah, and they'll sing it on the way out of the gig.
Yeah.
That would be
Yeah.
that would be the best.
Yeah. That becomes the part of your vocabulary, right? If you're playing it a lot, then it becomes a natural thing to respond on the instrument with that.
Right. And so what are your plans next? Like, where, now that you've got to this level, and you're making music, you've got 5 albums, you're all over the place, and you're making some money while you're sleeping, so it's not bad. what what you have a beautiful restful sleep, right?
Yeah.
What kind of things are in your mind for the future? What are you thinking of doing?
I would love to buy a place somewhere south on some island So when I'm a little bit older, maybe I would say after 80. Because 280 is not that old, right?
No,
It would be
it's not
nice.
even close.
Yeah, so maybe even a little bit before, if I could skip my winters here in Canada and go south, that would be so beautiful. But until then, I'm just going to continue writing because writing makes me really happy. I feel achieved when I write songs or instrumentals. Doesn't matter as long as I'm productive. I feel I'm happy, and this is the reason why I'm here, right? So I'm gonna write with my whoever wants to write with me, with my writing partners, and with myself, just instrumental music, whatever, and try to place as much as I can online and have a huge library or catalog of instrumentals that maybe in at some point in the future, if that becomes valuable like money today, as a human made music, maybe I can sell it for a great money, So that's where I'm thinking that the music will go. I may be wrong, I don't know.
Well, I think that's a great way to look at it. And again, you've got a really fantastic viewpoint about what makes you happy, which is writing music and playing music, but also turning it into a way to do more of it and to make a living
Yeah.
and to do the things that you want to do in life.
Yeah, I want to improve myself in production, obviously, right? Well, get better and better recordings if I can. And also, I'm the guy who likes to record a lot of my live stuff. And I
Really?
like to listen. Yeah, I noticed that not every musician likes that, right?
Right? Yeah.
And
Well, of
I
course.
think I think even professionals who play great, but I like to listen what is the problem with my playing and try to fix it and work on it. If I have something that is for me difficult to perform, I'm gonna put a click at 60 BPM and play it very slowly till I'm locked, right? So I mean that's kind of journey. So
That's a
yeah.
it's a great way to do it.
It takes
And
a lot of time, man, because you have to listen that and then slice the parts that are problem and then observe them and then practice them. It takes if you want to put time into that, you're going to improve. Apparently, right?
sure, yeah, yeah. It's you need to have that kind of work ethic, that dedication, and you have to stick to it because it doesn't happen overnight.
No,
It
no.
takes a long time to do.
Patience is everything in music, man.
Yeah. I was going to ask you something too about sort of something you said before about these shows, because as I say, I've seen you in like these nice, really, I love the small clubs, the small venues, the duos pretty much are my favorite. I love the duos because anything
You
can
can hear
happen.
nicely. Yeah, and you can hear.
You can really hear it, right? It's almost like listening to a string quartet, right? You're hearing all the separation. But you've done a lot of bigger shows with people
Yeah,
where you've done, I'll call them reviews, right? You've done reviews and things like that.
yeah. I played a lot of shows with Keisha Wint, and I did a bunch of with Carlos Morgan too. Original stuff and series where we perform either music of Luther Vandross or Marvin Gaye or Tina Turner or some
Right.
other act. So yeah, I mean I love playing with people, of course. It's
Right,
beautiful.
and you act
Full
as
bands.
and you act as sort of the producer or musical coordinator for.
No, no. I like to be a band member. I love being a band member and just doing my part and not being involved in that because sometimes it gets it's too much. I prepared one of the shows and I hate when, for example, when we play live, Keisha says, "Oh, this is the producer of the show," and I did a tribute to Amy Winehouse, Sade, and Whitney with Jalise, Selena, Evangeline, and Keisha Wint, right? And I'm like, I'm not a producer of the show. I just I ask these people that I like to play with. We are all friends and we like these acts, right? So it's like, hey, can we come up with a concept where we have 3 or 4 singers, main acts, George Michael, Sade, Amy Winehouse, and Whitney. But then every time that one guy is finished, the rest of the he becomes a backup vocalist, and the one of them, yeah. So we are all in a band, right? But every band member is not every 4 of the band members they become main act for half an hour of the show. So you have like a 120 minutes show where you're performing 30 minutes per act, 30 minutes Amy, Sade, George Michael, or Whitney. But after your show, you become a band member. You either play the keys or you sing backups, right? So they thought it's a great concept, and that's how we created this. But I don't consider myself as a producer of the show, whatever. You know, it was just an idea.
I think that's why they said it, though, because you came up with the concept, and whether or not you're the de facto producer, in their mind, you're the guy who came up with the concept.
Yeah, as an idea. But, you know, when you say producer of the show, I would think somebody who puts money in it and everything, right?
That's executive producer. That's the other 20 guys on the song credits. So, you know, yeah, I mean, you can't help it. You like to get stuff done, and so you're the producer because you're the guy with the concept.
But I love playing rhythm guitar, and I like to be in a band only and just like, you know, listen what's happening and enjoy it. You know, enjoy these beautiful singers performing and supporting them. I love that.
Yeah. That's probably one of, you know, one of my favorite things is kind of that same thing, is where everything that you're doing is there to support the song.
That's your job. You should do that. If you want to solo and whatever, make your own album like I did, and play instrumentals and play the, you know, ton of the licks if you want to, you know. But when you're playing for somebody, make sure that your part doesn't conflict with their part, right? In terms of singing, you don't play solo licks during somebody's vocal lines, right, and stuff like that. So, and your chord voicings and everything should be, you know, something that fits to their arrangement of the song or the vocal line or whatever.
Yeah, you're there to make them sound great.
Exactly.
You know, and that's,
that would be probably like a 90% of the gig. You know,
it's my most favorite part. You know, is it's such a feeling of satisfaction to really be able to contribute to that level and make someone sound great. What a beautiful thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that. And well, someday hopefully you'll go through all your live recordings, and you know, you'll start to. That's a lot of work, just cataloging all that, I think.
Mainly I do these things for myself to hear my playing, but so I don't really store these. I have some of them on my YouTube channel, right? But it's mainly to hear my playing. You know, am I sloppy? Should I change something here? Does, you know, some rhythm pattern even fits there or not? You know.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's a great way to learn, and it's nice to have the technology to do it and keep all that stuff handy, right?
It's a great way to improve yourself in playing by listening your live takes, right?
Oh yeah. And sometimes a little scary.
Yeah, it can be. I remember one of the professional guitar players said, my bendings are not in tune," because they listen later the concert and they say, I'm overbending it, you know. So how are you going to know that unless you take that recording and you listen again?
Yeah, that's it.
And then you work on it. Yeah,
it's a great way to do it. Well, I have to say, I love talking to you about music and all the things that go into it, and I will include those links for people to catch up on your teaching and stuff, because I didn't really know you even did that. I think what a great opportunity for people around the world.
Yeah, I've been doing it since '93, man. Because I had one of my teachers was, I would say, one of the best players back home. By the way, I'm born in ex-Yugoslavia. At that time, it was Yugoslavia. Now it's Serbia, Croatia, Montenegro, Slovenia, Macedonia, and I had like the best guitar teacher there at that time. So he turned me into listening jazz, because I went to the first lesson with like heavy metal chops, and it was like, what is this? Let's do Donna Lee first lesson, Charlie Parker, and my brain was like, I don't know. Every lesson was 2 hour long. I remember that. So I went for a year, and he gave me advice. He said, why don't you, study this a little bit more? Maybe you're gonna need this skill, being a teacher, at some point in your life to survive. I remember those words so well. And back in 92 or 93, he had to tour with his band, and he asked me to sub for him. And I had a group of between 8 to 10 students, but 4 levels, so it was 40 students a day. I mean, teaching 8 or 10 at once, right? And that's where I started, you know. I started, and then I continued by myself at home. I had private lessons too. And then when I came to Canada, I was like, man, I got fired from the radio station as a sound guy because I didn't answer the phone. Yeah, the host told me, when I'm doing the show and it's live, you don't answer the phone call because it's feeding the mic, which is 100%, it makes sense, especially to somebody who studied music production and understands the microphone. So the owner of the station called, I didn't respond, and he told the guy, well, why is he not taking my call? And I said, well, I can't take a call when the mic is on and I'm in the show. I'm sitting next to the guy. It's not like I'm in a different booth, right? Yeah. So he fired me. I went back home. I was like, what am I going to do? I don't know. Okay, let's put an ad for guitar lessons on Craigslist. I had 3 to 4 people a day asking me to come. It was unbelievable. That was 2006 or 7, the beginnings of Craigslist, right? And I was like, why am I like traveling an hour to my work and back, 2 hours a day, when I can make like way more money teaching, you know? And I started first with doing only Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but that expanded to full 7 days teaching, you know? And I started gigging as well with my friend, who was at that time, he was a part of Alana Miles' band. And he asked me if I can do another band and play bass in a band. It was kind of traditional rock mixed with Irish music. And I remember my first gig was in Kingston. So we drove there for 2 days and we played there 2 days, stayed over, came back. I made so much money playing bass with that band back in 2006 that I bought entire equipment for my studio, right? And I never went back to a radio station to be a sound guy, of course. So that's my story.
That's you.
2006 story.
And how old were you when you were taking lessons with your that teacher?
I was 17.
You were 17.
Before that, I started playing guitar when I was 13, but I was just like, because I was in music school, I was kind of able to pick by myself with my ear, but then, you know, going and playing like rock music and stuff. And then I went to him and he says, well, you have to study jazz. You need to learn, you know, tensions and release and all this stuff. So
I think like all really great teachers, he had another agenda, which is he recognized that you were really good, and that's why he was saying, you know what, learn all this stuff, so when I need to go out on the road, you can sub for me, because it's not easy to find someone to teach all those students. He was thinking ahead.
Maybe, I don't know.
I think so.
Yeah, but that was a great advice. And I always, every time I see him or write an email, I say, hey, man, do you remember when you told me you may need this one time in your life as a skill? Learn how to teach, you know? You may, you know, survive with this. Because he was at that time like full. And I had 40 students a week here in Canada at one point. I'm not doing that much anymore because it's a lot. Because I worked 7 days a week. And I was like, man, I need 1 day to sleep, you know, without having anyone. So yeah,
what a great story. I think you've got to start to write down some of these little short stories. The radio station one is great. That would be a good clip sometime to do a little dramatic clip of the radio station part. But you know, it's all part of that journey of music and finding your way, and getting to where you want to go. And you know, for me, when I'm talking about this stuff with you, the thing that makes me most happy is to know that you're doing what makes you happy.
Yeah. So I don't consider I have a job, to be honest. You know.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, but it's work that you want to do because it makes you happy doing it.
I have friends ask me like, "Hey, what would you like for Christmas? Let me buy you a present." I was like, "I don't need anything, man. I celebrate every day." Or for birthday, I don't really care about my birthday. But when people is like, "Hey, let's go somewhere, let's celebrate," I was like, we don't need to do this really, because every time I wake up in the morning, I can't wait to go to the studio and write music. I don't feel like I have a job, you know. Music is making money at night for me. You know, I sleep and I generate income. So, like a dinner or something, a gift is not going to make me happy. This makes me happy more than anything else. So when I say I have birthday every day, that kind of sounds funny, right?
No, it's I completely get it, and it's a great thing, and I hope that other people who who want to get into that kind of stuff consider that making yourself happy and doing the things that you want to do is a great way to live your life.
It is probably the best. The most important thing I would tell any students, whether it's music or anything else, is make sure that you have a job that you love,
Mm-hmm.
because you're going to be spending 8 hours a day till the rest of your life doing it, right? So if
Mm-hmm.
you're miserable for 8 hours a day, that's not going to be good for your health in the first place, right?
Absolutely,
But being
absolutely.
happy, wake up and go and do whatever you like, either it's music or making toothpicks, doesn't really matter.
And
You,
and the funny thing is when you're a musician and you love what you do, you don't work 8 hours a day, you work 16. But it doesn't
yeah,
matter. But it
you don't
doesn't
really
matter.
feel. Yeah, you
No,
don't really feel, right? But
no.
sometimes you get rewarded for half an hour of your time. I remember one of the song instrumentals that I made. I literally, it took me 30 minutes because I was like, I don't know why I'm doing it. Let me just try it, and I did it, and it got licensed. And I was like, sometimes I spend a week of polishing tunes and trying to find a nice sound. And is it good or not? Whatever. It ends up nowhere. And sometimes it's just like literally put drums in, record bass, guitar, whatever, send it over, and people like it. And I don't know why. Maybe because it's just like so like relaxed and organic, that, and they need it for the purpose of the scene or whatever. So
Yeah, you never know what's you
you
never
never
know
know.
you never know. And I think Rick Rubin was talking about that at one point where he said, make something that you love, and when you're and if you're happy with it, release it, and then people will either love it or hate it or do whatever they want with it. But that's not in your control. You can't control what someone thinks of what you did. You don't know
Exactly.
you don't know what they're going to think, but you know what you think. And so as long as you
Yeah,
really like it, then that's the happy part. The happy part
it
is I love
is.
this. Here you go, enjoy it. And that's
It's in a way it's a therapy for you to feel good, right? And you're doing a good thing. You're not drinking, you're not, using drugs or whatever. You're putting your creativity, and creating something that's going to be used for something else. And in the same time you're generating income if you can, right? The good thing about licensing is this you don't really want to hit on the movie, you know? You know why? Because people are focused on the dialogue and the scene. They don't want to be licensing agents. I don't think in 95% of situations that they want a hit song that people know, because then you start listening to the song instead of being in the movie, right? So you want something that is not really super famous. Of course, famous artists are very expensive to license, so there's a great opportunity for people who are not famous but they sound good and their craft is good, that they can make money, right? Because they're not going to charge $500,000 for We Will Rock You on the movie. They will charge 20 grand,
it.
So
So it's almost like what we were talking about before with supporting the song, right? If you're
yeah.
writing music, if you're writing music that supports the dialogue,
Hmm.
then really that's that service you're providing. You're making the dialogue better
Yeah.
by having just the right ambiance, the right tone, the right
Yeah.
groove.
If you're hired for the movie to do that, then you look at the image, and you have a prompt. You kind of know what you have to do. But most of the time, I make music, and then you send it to a licensing agent, and they just literally have tags and the way to mark what your instrumental or song is
Right.
about. And then when there is a scene that needs that, they pull it and they put it in and see if it fits or not. So
And I bet
yeah,
you
but
that's
when you're hired for the show, then it's also probably beautiful, to look at an image and create like a. I think there is a movie with Eric Clapton's music about some kind of. I don't know. I think it's called Rush. If you
mhm.
remember back in the late '80s,
I didn't see it. No.
I think it's a police officer that was a part of a cartel. They put him in as a spy, and he started using drugs and whatever, and he didn't want to leave after a while because and he had a love, he had a girl there. So there's a lot of. I think Clapton did the soundtrack for it. So I'm pretty sure that that is done. That he was, you know, looking at the scenes and doing the licks, and it's beautiful.
Wow, I'm going to check that out. I didn't hear about it before. So
Yeah, it's
that's the kind of thing where you probably have some new stuff that you can try down the road.
yeah. I would. I mean, if the money is good. I've been asked sometimes to do like a half an hour. Oh, it's just a half an hour. I was like, man, to compose half an hour music nonstop with the picture is a lot of, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the money was funny, so I was like, no, no thanks.
Well, well, that's great. You got to keep it real when it comes to the business part of the music.
Yeah,
You know, because otherwise you can't survive.
yeah, they go together, and if you're able to deliver multiple genres, that's great. Because as you know, we don't have any more rock station and jazz station and blues station and pop. Everything is now one, right? Those days are gone from when 2005 when the radio stations. You know, before we had like a flow or something. It was just hip hop and R&B. Now you don't have any more of those things. So um, because I like different genres, I like funk and rock and whatever. I did a lot of it, of different things, right? And so my library of music is going from have a little bit of Latin to slow blues to heavy metal to thrash metal to world music, classical. I even have some gypsy music too, with like horns, brass action, you know. So yeah,
It's
whatever.
it sounds like a pretty great catalog and with a lot of different kinds of music in it,
Yeah,
and it's only going to continue to grow.
yeah, for sure.
Congratulations.
As long as AI, as the you know, AI doesn't take over, which I don't think it will, because you need a human person to sign the ownership of the stems and stuff in order to be used. And if that's not cleared in advance, nobody will touch it. No, because you don't want a Warner Brothers doesn't want to have because that's a big company, so they can't wait for the song to make some to movie for movie to make some money to be put on the court, right? Okay, now when I see that your income from this movie is, let's say, $100 million, I'm going to sue you because you used AI that has my stems. You know, that's how it works. You wait first for somebody to make an income before you put him on a court, right?
It's so funny. Luckily, I don't think you're going to have to worry about any of that stuff, and your catalog
No.
will
Yeah.
continue to grow and generate the income, and you'll continue to explore new music and try new things, and learn about new ways to record.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
you've got lots of fun ahead of you.
If I earn and save a lot of money, that would be nice. To have a house on the beach.
When the next album comes out, we're going to have another talk.
Okay.
Hopefully that won't be too long, and
Yeah.
it's great to be able to share these stories and insights with you. And I don't know, I learned a lot today about stuff that I didn't even know, and that's part of my fun is. I think that I know about people and musicians that I've heard, but I don't even know this much about what's really going on, and
Yeah.
I get to learn even more, and it's really enjoyable for me to see how people got to where they are and
Yeah.
what their stories are. So thanks for sharing that with me.
You're welcome, man. Thanks for having me.